Watto and welcome, and absolute top tier proper.
Reactor
First!
Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
My New Year's resolution this year is 2,560 by 1,440. And yes, this makes me a gardening genius, because it counts as landscaping.
That was a long walk for a short glass of water. Puns, feckin' thank you. 60 months. I think that's the 5-year mark, right? It's all good. No, Orchazini, it's yours. First name on the board. Down under dwarf, Watto and welcome. Hello, hello. I need to plan out the week, and I missed you all, so I figured I would combine these things while having some potentially ill-advised afternoon coffee. And that's it. That's what's going down. Well, I am glad you're enjoying Geodepths, because that did feel like the undiscovered gem of last year. So yeah, forgive me while I'm slugging coffee. Yeah, how are you lot doing? Happy New Year? Well, down under dwarf, sadly, when one works for oneself, there is no such thing as downtime. Dustin, Watto and welcome. Hello, hello. Coming in, friends, coming in. So, yeah. My first official day on my, check it, Elden Ring calendar, despite the fact that we have not yet streamed all of Elden Ring. Plus, it looks like the video game news cycle is already kicking off. Calm is apparently for other nerds, not for us. Numbers, Watto and welcome. Hello, hello. Geographic, greetings. So Dustin, I haven't done any with the beer bell reps at the moment, but I've been having problems with my hands again.
Number go up.
Number go up. J-Post, that's the first 63 right there. So, cheers to you, friend. Cheers to you. You know, just a casual 63 months, the most one can. No big deal. Thank you. Chornerus, Watto and welcome.
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Unlucky 13.
Hey, legend. Only unlucky for some. Besides, you got your final form of longship, so you're set. You're fucking set. But, thank you. Alright?
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, our 4 reptilian heroes, have overcome the Arch-Villain Shredder.
Oh, heck yeah! So, legend, obviously, thank you. And you managed to get that to Crowbeak. And if you haven't met Crowbeak, they're fucking cool people. So, good shot. Good arrow loosed to you. Yeah, legend, #1 spot of House Carl's hunting boards belongs to you. Oh, and Jamami, good on you. Like, sometimes you gotta take the wins, right? So yeah, how are you all doing? Numbers, now, did you finish the original, or did you finish Black Mesa? Because I don't know if I recommend it immediately after, but there is still Opposing Force and Blue Shift. Opposing Force is good. Blue Shift is kind of a take it or leave it. I mean, those would be my recommendations. Or you can just continue immediately with Gordon's story, because you got Half-Life 2. So, Dice Goddess, what and welcome! Yeah, no, that is a solid question. Oh. And to those who sent through Happy New Year messages yesterday, thank you for that. I was entirely broken. I can blame no one else but myself. And we'll leave it at that. Well, so numbers. You know what? I'm going to say opposing force next. Like, because so Blue Shift is Barney's story, which I guess kind of comes into play later, but Blue Shift is mostly great, but with one of the most insufferable escort sections in video games. So just go into it knowing that. Opposing Force is kind of... It's got a fun cheese to it, you know. Instead of the hazard course, you have boot camp and this kind of like video game budget Full Metal Jacket thing going on, which at the time I remember being a lot of fun. Yeah, well, so Dustin, when in March, because just as an FYI, we do have the GDC PAX East double threat at the end of March. And it's looking like I'll be working both to some capacity, so...
New year, new terrible puns, and here we go.
Alright.
What happened to the priest who tried to pray away the dinosaurs? He was raptured.
Okay, I see who you're going for. I mean, Akira's right. Obviously, thank you for the 500 bits. However, this does tell me that you have not seen the seminal cinematic masterpiece that is Velocipasta.
Stop that incessant clicking.
Alright. Well, Jackie, thank you for the gifted sub. This ain't a stream. It's a hot dog coffee show. No, like I was saying, I wanted to plan out what the rest of this week is looking like, and I figured that I could do it in raptured silence, meditating on my own, or I could catch up you all, which I'd much rather do. Also, yeah, as I was saying earlier, the video game news cycle has already started to pop off. Like, nothing bombastic.
Is Blue Shift worth it for 69 cents? Nice. Also, what are Half-Life, Caged and Half-Life, Restored?
To my understanding, Caged and Restored are both mods that have gotten the official go-ahead. Yeah. Right, they're...
Stop that incessant clicking.
Alright. Creme brulee next? Okay. Oh, so yeah, Half-Life Caged is a mod. Restored is kind of the same, but it's just like a visual update. So it spruces up a few of like the skyboxes and stuff like that. If you've already played through Half-Life, it's take it or leave it. Also, it doesn't work with the new updated version of Half-Life that went out at the end of last year, so...
When someone puts any amount of thought into a dinosaur pun, you have to respond, clever girl, Will.
Jamami, I think you'll find that life finds a way. Thank you for the 200, friend. Well, so again, numbers, like, of the 2 mods you put down, like, one of them is just, it's just a standalone mod made by some peeps, except for, you know, this one's some kind of, like, prison escape mod. Like, it's there. And yeah, Restored, it's just an HD update mod that doesn't work with the current version. Black Mesa, so Black Mesa is a whole nother kettle of monkeys. Black Mesa was built from the ground up in Source, like a Half-Life 2 engine, basically. So it is narratively similar, and it has the same vibes, but it's a whole nother class. And honestly, I think Black Mesa is probably worth doing after Half-Life 2. Dino. Feckin' wit. You feckin' wit! Oh. Anyway. Alright. Nearly knocked Scotty Doggy has nearly been unseated. Didn't think that would happen so soon into the new year. And a train has been unleashed. Do with it as you will.
Snipe.
Indeed. But Jamami, can you hold on to it? That's the question. So numbers. With Half-Life, the episodes are a continuation of the story. Essentially goes Half-Life 2, Episode 1, Episode 2, Half-Life Alyx. If you were playing it through, like, if you're playing it through a narrative order.
Oh look, more chaos.
Apparently so. Oh, we just got some coffee and talk about games. And Chef, how are you doing? Water and welcome.
A group of horned dinosaurs stomps up to a farmer. When asked what they were doing there, they said, "We're here to Triceratops crops."
Oh, okay. Whew. Man, you'll yours pun game is not as brutal as it's been in the past. A solid effort.
Captain
a solid
on the
effort.
fridge.
Oh,
Once I was fired from being a train engineer.
okay.
My boss was concerned that I derailed 63 trains. Could it really have been that many? Maybe, but it's hard to keep track.
Alright, bravo, bravo. Eraman, obviously, thank you for the full compliment. The full 63. And the tier 3. That's a big number. J-Post, were you there the day we did the train game? I still can't believe I'm not allowed to do shady shit when driving a train in the UK in a video game. It's bullshit. But, J-Post, thank you kindly. It seems that whoever will hold the Yalden at the end of this... And Waffles, thank you. Jesus, 45 months. Fucking hell. I mean, Erriman's 63, which is the max that one can have at a 3, is still redonkulous.
Ooh,
Hey.
hype train already.
Hey, Fearless. Watto and welcome. Yeah, apparently so. Apparently so. Sorry, I've nothing to add. That's where we at today. Where is it? Ah, here we go. So, in exchange for all this this wild nonsense that's already happening, I want to put a game on your radar, friends, because I think it will destroy people. It is a city building competitive CCG.
These dino puns aren't really creatious enough.
Alright, bravo, bravo. It's alright, it's New Year. We're just gonna shake the cobwebs off. Get into it. That's fucking good. Oh. Anyway, friends, fucking hello. As I said, I thought today we would plan out what the rest of the week's going to look like and have a little chat. And if suddenly through a burst of hidden energy or a burst blood vessel, there are some little teeny tiny games that we can trottle around on. Well, also, I want to tell you some of the nonsense I'm attempting to work on at the moment as well. Oh.
Mine. Snipe.
Yeah, no. Nicely played, Asari. Also, Watto and welcome. Hope you're not staying up too late, but hello. You might still have this by the end of the train as well. And the deed is done. The trade has completed. Asari has managed to unseat you all. Well played. Well played.
I checked in at the reception desk for my 4:04 appointment. The receptionist said appointment was not found.
Ah. What you did there. I saw it. And again, all of you, thank you. Sorry, I'm slugging coffee for banter-based powers, trying to get my dumbass up to speed, and actually do a clever big think. Whoa, Chef, I'm still very appreciative, alright? As I'm sure you're all aware, it's what keeps us fucking going, so thank you. Thank you all. Alright, now you've got your chaos out of your system, friends. Again, Watto and welcome! Happy New Year! Still here. For those wondering, yes, the first tally wall has reset. Orchazini is the first name on the board, so congrats on that quick draw. Well, you know what I mean, puns. You know what I mean. But yeah,
BTW. Did you see my reply to your Mr. Blobby will smash up? It looked cute. And yep, it did not look like the Blobby. I cast heal.
it looked like a pasta pirate. But it was very impressive. Like, I need to write more in Creation Celebration because I often realise that I go in there and I'm like, fuck, that's cool.
The
Fuck, that's
Teenage
cool.
Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yo!
our 4 reptilian heroes, have overcome the Ark villain Shredder.
J-Pose with time to spin the wheel of Yaldum. You propped up Gun Bunny King. And what is a Yaldum to a king, am I right? I know, puns. The most dangerous noodle. No, seriously, J-Post and sorry, and all of you. Fucking thank you. Apologies, I'm still getting up to speed. But yeah, aside from the cursed Will Blobby mashup, which I will be posting later today, it's always impressive going through Creation Celebration, just seeing the awesome stuff that people put together. Like I said, I need to say more good stuff because it's all fucking cool in there. A classic banger chef. Last night at Orange County Jail, a little person said to be a psychic had escaped. Call went out, there was a small medium at large. Okay, so, how have you all been? I don't really have anything to report. I was ragingly hungover last night. Well, yesterday, I should say. But I did spend some time just playing Tears of the Kingdom, which was nice. Right, nothing clever to add. But there were a few times where I was trying to solve puzzles with the tools I had, but actually I had to use the special magical MacGuffin to solve the thing. And I was like, I think I should be allowed to do it my way, but alright. I went up and down to the Wind Temple like 5 times. Sorry, it was first day back to work. Good on you. I wouldn't call this my first day back. If anyone asks, this wasn't a stream. Puns, I apologise. There is yelling in the background. I apologise that's getting picked up. Bear with me just a second. Bear with me just a second. Okie dokie, there we go. That should help people not think they have some kind of audio-based issues. Also, that way I don't get DMCA to the ground at some point. Numbers, that sounds like a lovely way to spend an afternoon. Chef says, does anyone know a UE4 Mega Guru? I do. Depends on the things. And sorry, thank you for the bits. We don't have to do cursed blobby moment right now. So Chef, TLDR, I do know somebody, I will have to try and remember their username. There's somebody I spoke to through Twitter back in the day. I don't know if they're still about. Oh, gods. Twitter is so difficult and insufferable to try and find individuals on. I may have to see if I can find them at some future point. Yeah, okay, remind me on that one and I'll see if I can get their contact deets. Because they're basically I think the tech industry term is evangelist, but they're an on-staff specialist. So if they don't know, they can at least point to who can. I mean, it's wild, like, Chef, people will hunt out games just for Steam achievements. Okie dokie. Yeah, I had to have a hunt for that one. Air Dragon, what and welcome. Doing good. I've been very out of sorts today, and I'm hoping that a cup of coffee and getting stuff planned with you lot is what I need. Got my fancy pen. Got my fancy calendar. Yeah, we're doing this. Wait, well, so Chef, that's always the fascinating thing is like having something that doesn't work in a title and not having it at all. Broken achievements cause like friction with users, especially when they're trying to clear everything. With something like a horror game, you can usually get all the Chivos in one run. But if there are no achievements to get, then users aren't focused on them. Oh, you know, Damien, I do this for realsies. I put in the hours. Also, Damien, Watto and welcome. I don't know if they're about, but actually, Damien, I was going to blep at you about this. Where was it? Squarepeg, Squarepeg pointed out to me something called RPG Developer Banking. So apparently the RPG Maker had some of their people, I don't know if they were poached or if they were moved over. Oh my word. Sorry, Steam's being a butt. But apparently it's in early access, came out October. Similar tool set to RPG Maker, but with potentials for like 3D and nonsense like that. And as you are one of the peeps that I know develops an RPG Maker, I thought that would be of interest to you. It's got like an Octopath Traveler vibe out the box. So Jamomi, there are people that are in essentially like Steam achievement races and whatnot. And so there are people that will buy a game, get all the Chivos, and then return it in the 2-hour period if they can. But for the most part, as Chef's saying, it's like people buy the game, the achievements don't proc, and then they just return it. It's weird and wild. So Air Dragon, the Steam Awards can eat farts, and is another reminder that, what did I say earlier? The popular choice doesn't mean... Popular doesn't mean good. Sometimes the two things line up, like with Lethal Company and with Baldur's Gate, but for the most part, what is successful isn't the best in class. And yes, users are the worst. They voted Starfield for most innovative gameplay. What that tells you is, one, the silent majority has no taste. And 2, you can't trust people. Okay, so Damien, you did know about this. Alright. I saw it doing some of the stuff that you have experimented with. Yeah, numbers, Chorderus, like I said, it doesn't even warrant discussion. I mean, Chef, yeah, you gotta get that game dev tag. But anyway, like I said, we've talked long and hard about award ceremonies. The Steam Awards is a great example of why, like open user voting does not get you the best in cat. Yeah, and Fearless, the Twitch system for it is ridiculous. The TLDR being whoever runs the developer page for a game on Twitch Dev then denotes who is a developer from there. Oh, Legend. Best cat in video games. That's a fucking award I care about. Number says, how is the best cat in games not the cat from Stray? When was Stray? Was that last year? No, it was the year before. Okay. Well, and Damien, heck yes, you'll always be my go-to person. Plus, I still want to do cool stuff. It's just life keeps throwing shit at me every time I trying to do more creative endeavors. How many cat games are there on Steam? Annoyingly, the cat, again, most of the tags are user chosen, so it makes it hard. So, like, if you look on the cat's page, one of the top games is oh no, that's one of the top games is No More Heroes, which does have a cat in it. And Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 because it has Garfield. Jamami, not soon enough. Indeed, Legend. They're like Tumblr tags. Useful, but not... entertaining, but not useful. On the cat list, Jesus. So there's some bangers here. There's Everdell. And I know I can't show you my screen because alongside Everdell, which is like a village building card game, and Cat Tales, an RPG where everyone's a cat, and Cat Cafe Manager, there's also... Hey!
I'm only here to inform you all that Earth had sharks before trees, and if all the people on Earth were to do a 1v1 to the death, then the winner will be determined after only 33 rounds. That is all.
It would only take 33 1v1s to get down to one person. Huh. Interesting. But I don't want to know how many rounds in the Grand Planet Royale you'd survive. I want to know how many, what is it? How many 12-year-old versions of yourself you could take out before they killed you. Anyway, suffice it to say, there's quite a few things under the cat tags in Steam that are not safe for stream. I cannot show you. Sorry, Deus. Thank you, friend. How are you doing? Happy New Year. Watto and welcome. I don't know if I mentioned to you all and to Deus, but the bug from our last... I don't even know if it was a bug. From the last Sea of Thieves, we had a Megalodon flip the boat and then attack us in a dinghy, and it was the fucking worst. I sent it to my friend at Rare, and all he sent back was, a real pirate would have held on to the helm. I was like, no! I held on to that ship for exactly as long as my courage would allow. Yeah. No, Chef, it's entirely fine. It's entirely fine. I think that's the problem about playing something like Inscription. It makes it feel like making CCGs is really easy. God, I loved Inscription. I genuinely loved a game that made breaking, like understanding mechanics and then breaking them as the core tenet to its whole thing. A real pirate knows dead men take no treasure. Except from GDC, and then I'll take whatever I can fucking get. I think I'm going to continue with my my smooth jams mix, friends. There we go. Chef started working on tower defense. Yeah. Another deceptively complex genre to develop for. I've tried a few that have mixed, like, tower defense elements with... God, what was the one that Kimball sent me that I was obsessed with? Rogue Tower. Gods. Yeah, Rogue Tower consumed me for like a week. That one was almost closer to Dungeons of Endless in terms of how it unfurls and how you build your structure to it. Good times, good times. Right, you lovely Mother Hubbards. So, I have brought you all here today for two reasons. One, I missed you. And two, I want to plan out this week. And I guess chat a little bit about Longship stuff coming up. There's a couple of projects I'm hoping to work on in my downtime. This one's more for the game dev amongst you. Is that I realised, coming out of 2023, that not everybody pays attention to the industry like we do. I found it genuinely surprising how many people were caught off guard by Embracer's implosion. How few people know about Savvy Game Group. How little understanding there was of like which of the players is sus and which of the players are worth talking to. Especially when the whole thing around No More Robots kind of got a bit of virality around it. No, I missed you all, sorry. So, one of the things that I am seriously considering putting together is just a little pre-GDC video of like where everybody was and where I think they're going to be going. So like one part prediction, one part like the story so far. So things like, I don't know if you saw in game news today, but the guy responsible for the game restrictions that we read about before Christmas in China has, I don't know if he's resigned or if he's disappeared. I should probably use the correct verbiage so I don't imply an incident. He's been removed from office because his announcements based around the video game limitations and the oversights caused a few of China's big companies, their stock to just eat shit. And apparently that's a bad. So that guy is he is not having a good time. But it's one of those things that's worth knowing, you know. How many of those proposed measures are going to be going through? Don't know, but you know, Tencent took a big old hit in the stocks, so it's unlikely they'll be buying peeps up, but who knows? Things like, now the ABK acquisition has gone through, it's probably not unfair to say that Microsoft's going to be focusing on kind of integrating them and fixing problems, so they don't end up with another Starfield or something along those lines. But it does, however, mean that it's unlikely Microsoft will be buying any small teams for, you know, the foreseeable year. Because, you know, they just spent however many fucking billions. Like, stuff like that, you know. And especially when it comes to teams like, you know, Devolver and things like that have a very strong public presence, but haven't really been doing too hard. I mean, fucking Tiny Build, you know. Like, Tiny Build was headlining investment summits last year. And then at the end of the year, they settled their lawsuit with one of their own teams, and then one of the people that they owned, and then fired them into the sun. You know? That doesn't scream confidence. Well, so Chaunerus will know more as it goes through, but what we do know is that the restrictions, the planned restrictions on video game monetization that the Chinese government were going to be implemented caused 10 cents shares to fall by 16%, and NetEase lost 25% after the proposed setup. However, it does look like the Chinese government, I should say their National Press and Publication Administration, it's fucking has said that they're now going to be observing, researching, and then seeing what changes they're going to put into place. So they haven't said, we done goofed, but they've eased off the throttle something fierce. And again, this is just... Yeah. Deo says, what's this about Bungie's 7-step plan for world domination? Bungie's current plan is just fucking survive. Like... You know, as we found out last year, Bungie's in this fucking awful position where if their next big release doesn't hit sales targets, like, Sony will be taking direct control of Bungie. And with the market drastically moving away from games of service games, that very thing that Sony bought them for, like, it's looking messy over there. And I guess the reason why I wanted to do this is because, one, there's no point me gatekeeping this knowledge. But two, again, it amazes me how many people who have huge audiences and talk about the industry don't discuss any of this stuff. And I assume it's because they're still hoping to get deals and whatnot. Oh, I mean, Chef, absolutely. Like, and it's... Okay, we know he's a piece of shit, right? We know that Bobby Ballbag's a scummer. But what's fascinating is that no one would say boo to a ghost until he left. So for as much as he was a POS, like even towards the end, he must have commanded scary power with inside ABK. Like the moment after like he left, tons of people started reaching out on the quiet, being like, oh no, he was a fucking piece of shit to work with. They didn't do that when he announced he was leaving. They didn't do that when it was announced the deal was happening. So like, enough people were scared of him inside ABK to not talk shit about him while he was in power. Chef, they won't need somebody in that spot. Like, honestly, from Microsoft's perspective, ABK is not a brand they give a fuck about. And they give a fuck about content and output right now. They want some CODs, they want COD on Game Pass, they want Blizzard to bang out some new titles, make it all part of their ecosystem. So, look, it's all capitalism at the end of the day, right? And there is no such thing as a good billion-dollar company. But the smart strategy would be to separate Activision, Blizzard, and King out into their separate areas, and inside Activision to start separating studios and teams out from their structure. I don't think they'll be leaving a lot of the corporate trappings in. Yeah. So Air Dragon, I have had a similar feeling with it. I just like, it's not even about how we feel about Destiny 2 as a title. It's like looking at it from an industry standpoint and being like, beans. Like, they're in a bad way. Like, and it's not impossible, but yeah. If they don't hit their sales quota or revenue quota, I forget which one it is, so please don't quote me verbatim, but yeah, Sony will be taking direct control of Bungie. Which is bad. Which is very bad. For a studio that has fought for its independence like 3 times, I don't understand, but alright. Okay, no, I do understand it. It's because, like, if you are owned by a big publisher, you gain a certain level of safety in the face of fluctuating numbers, or at least it feels that way. But oh, but also, so Chef and, like, you don't need to worry about Diablo. Like, Diablo makes bank. Now, whether or not Blizzard will be split into its product teams, I highly doubt that, but Activision certainly might be. Ugh. But, you know, even the despised Diablo Infinity, or whatever it was called, made stupid money. Like, so on that one, you don't gotta worry. And Diablo 4 sold like hotcakes. It is also worth saying, like, it hasn't been discussed as much as other titles, because what's the quote from Good Omens? It's very hard. It's not that it's not there. It's just, it's very hard to see all of London when you're staring at a lamppost. Yes, Dragon, thank you. Diablo 4 is a financial success. And I guess that's the reason why I want to, like, put this together. But, like, what's going on with Apogee? What's happening with, I guess Night Dive? I forget who bought Night Dive. It's probably Embracer. Like, we're not going to hear much about Embracer, hopefully. Touch wood, for the next, Oh, is it Atari? Okay. Well, see, and Farbles, this is why these conversations are good, because one, it's a great reminder for myself, but also, like, right now, Atari's just an IP holding company, you know? So whatever the hell is going on over there, who knows? Um, now, Chef, I am with you there. I would like for the games to be better, and I would like for those teams to have more creative freedom. So we'll see how it goes. So, Chef, the IP of Atari is held by, I forget which, like, VC conglomerate, and they've started publishing or acquiring things to publish. But again, like, now this is shamanistic of me. I don't think that VC funding is stable yet, and I don't think it's gonna be stable for a while. Yeah, sorry, you can't see Soho when you're looking at a tree. You cannot see something so large when all your focus is on a single point. Like, right now, like, I think this is the year we're going to have to suffer through the generative AI nonsense. That's currently the new revenue-generating buzzword. But that one is also now slowly getting mired with a lot of legal nonsense. So traditional investment's going to be probably a bit more gun-shy on it. And that means that you can't even do the sneaky cheeky trick of using AI to attract investment. I just mean the buzzword AI to attract investment. And then, like, doing the old, like, cheeky chappy. Basically, where you tell a VC, we'll absolutely put this hot buzzword in. And then you do to the letter of the law. And then once it comes closer to release and the buzzwords have moved on, then you're like, oh, we didn't actually put the stuff in. Yeah. Well, so Air Dragon. Whoa, this is the thing. Embracer doesn't need revenue. Embracer needs the perception of growth. And again, I know we've talked about this, but Embracer's been borrowing against their stock valuation, and so that's what empowered them to go around the industry buying everything. And once that became shaky, that's when they started just hemorrhaging staff to try and make the end-of-year numbers look good. And if those end-of-year numbers do look good, then their stock valuation will go back up, and there's no worries. Like, it's fucking smoke and mirrors. And TLDR is, don't get bought by Embracer Group. They are playing fast and loose, and if they fuck up too hard in this coming year, there might not be an Embracer Group to persist. I mean, hell, so that's the thing, Air Dragon, they don't even need revenue. They need, like, I don't know, some bombastic, cool thing.
I part Viking 64 friendo 4 soups. I place the cat as the Jarl. Jess will not move. Good luck upsetting a Jarl kitty.
I mean, sorry, I merely serve the throne. I have no control over who sits upon the Jarldom. And if it's your cat, then I guess whoever unseats the cat will have to feel very bad about it. But then again, if the cat was to sit on an existing Jarl, they'd never be able to leave, so... Okay. So Air Dragon is saying, from an ex-evaluator, they need a super fund for cash. Alright. So they either need, like, a big injection or they need some deal that's going to make them seem as if they're, like... Like I said, I'm still worried Savvy's going to try and just take them. Like... And, okay, I'm not being too conspiratorial. Like, Savvy were apparently the ones they were doing that big deal with, and then went, nah. I still think that's the nonsense. So, Chef, Savvy Games Group is the game investment wing of the Saudi fund. Oh, and Johnny, Watto, and welcome. Yeah. Well, so Air Dragon, I'm not hopeful that Embracer's going to be able to pull out this tailspin without some more hemorrhaging, but we'll see, you know? Anyway. Oh, so Johnny, I've just been nattering about stuff I want to do, I guess, this year, and talking about what we'll be streaming this week, but we've mostly just been talking about... So Air Dragon, here's the thing, is like, I don't know anybody else that talks about the publishing an investment game like this. And there are a lot of people that made a lot of bad deals in the last couple of years that have really bitten them on the arse. And I don't know if you can provide a succinct, solid, like, here's what to look out for at GDC from publishers, here's the suspects list, here's the solids list, you know? Oh, you know what? Sorry, we're getting into wild stuff. So there are a gajillion investment funds. Most of them you don't really need to worry about. The reason why Savvy is because Savvy Games is a part of the Saudi investment fund. So Saudi Arabia, like the country, with its, I believe, Crown Prince, I forget, have an investment fund where they invest in companies overseas to make more money. They have been trying to move more and more into the gaming space because it's, you know, if you get it sweet, it's a very, very lucrative business from an investment standpoint. Like, you know, there's no raw materials required, there's no shipping required. In theory, video games just make money out of air. From a wanky billionaire standpoint, like, we all know it's art, and that's a whole different kettle of monkeys. But the reason why this is concerning is that, one, Saudi Arabia is not a good place. It is not good to its people. And there is a non-zero chance of that influence dictating what can and can't be put into the games made by those teams. Alright? So yeah. Yeah. Well, Air Dragon, I shall celebrate the fact that you're here with us, good guys. I mean, Damien, that'd be feckin' great. You know, the great thing about the so-called generative AI is that you can pitch it to fucking wankers, and all you're doing is prop gen behind the scenes, right? Like, make an RPG where the name, the personality, and the character class are all fucking random, and tell people it's like, it's a generative AI system. No two NPCs will be the same. Just get that shit going. Like, that's when I talk about taking VCs for a ride, because VCs aren't our friends. Like, they have money, they want more money. They put money into video games to turn art into more cash for them. If you take them for a fucking ride and it pays for your game, fucking brilliant. Fuck VCs. Alright? Because here is the thing, out of venture capital groups and investors and whatnot, they will say everything lovely to your face. When you are making those deals, they are your bestest best buddy. And then, when the market changes a year later, they're like, but hey, yo, I know we agreed on this, but now you need to put a bunch of nufters and shit in it, because otherwise we're going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Right? So Chef says, are there numbers on how few individual developers are funded for their projects? Well, so Chef, the last conversations I had, it's more about how much you're asking for. Basically...
Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
New year, new stream.
New year to stream! Meow Kitty Sakura, Watto and welcome, and feckin' thank you. That's the full complement. That's 63 months. There's not more than that. There's not a 64 yet. Next N64 months next month, let's fucking go! It does also mean we'll be hitting 69 this year. Nice, nice, nice. Air Dragon says their old employer blew $1 million on a new system pitched to them from a third party. Yep. Okay, so Chef, the TLDR is that, and this is just my end-of-year knowledge from last year. I have no idea what the investment and funding strategies are for this coming year. I'm going to assume very, very, very fiscally Scrooge-like. But the TLDR was that you basically needed to be asking for at least $1 million. So it doesn't really matter if you're a solo developer or if you're like a team of 10. If you're asking for anything less than, 1 to 2 mil, the amount of risk presented for small to medium publishers is too large versus how little return. Like, I've gotten drunk and angry about this loads of times. Today I am sober and grumpy, but the TLDR being is that I've met people that could punt out like a solid game for like 50k. Can I get 50k from a publisher? No, because for them, the paperwork and the risk isn't worth it. Like, in the event that you just take the 50k and run, it would cost more in legal fees to get it back. And even then, you're going after somebody that doesn't have the money. Right? Yeah. Well, and as you know, Fearless, like, you wouldn't just be given $1 million, it would be milestone payments. And so if the publisher feels that you're not living up to that, then there's more protection recourse for them. I don't agree with this. I absolutely think there is success to be had in micro-publishing, and it fucking pisses me off that I can't make it happen. But it is what it is, Being a realist means I can't just be grumpy about that all the time. So that's the kind of the long and short is you need to be pitching big games, or at least big for an indie. Yeah, no, Chef, it would be amazing. Because the thing I would, if I had that kind of like, if I had the cash and the ability, what I would do is I'd pick up those projects that were just almost there. It's like, for example, the, I always forget what it's fucking called. Maybe because it needs a better name, but... the one the Armello team did. Jump Light Odyssey. Like, Jump Light Odyssey was self-published, and they just ran out of cash. Like, and... yeah. If you didn't see, they had to announce that Jump Light Odyssey is now indefinitely paused. It may come back if they suddenly start making bank, but at the moment it's not going anywhere. They've also said, though, that any sales of the game will be going to the people that worked on it. So I think that's at least something, right? But it's already getting a negative response because users are like, wait, this is just never being finished? Like, getting something like that, bringing that across the finish line, that's the shit, right? Well, so Fearless, the trickle down of that is not... Sorry, Fearless was suggesting maybe I need to approach a VC with that pitch. It's not a very tasty proposition for them, because it's a lot of legwork for limited, low amounts of revenue, right? What they want a fucking League of Legends. They want a Diablo 4. They want me to come to them with a game and say, right, this is going to cost 20 mil to make, and it's going to generate fucking millions upon millions of dollars every year for infinity. Like, impossible, yes, but that's where they're hunting. What they don't want is, hey, I want to slowly build a portfolio of games that sell a little bit, a lot, and use that to help more games that generate more, and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, well, sorry, like, Child of Light was either EA or Ubisoft, wildly. Yeah. But yeah, I don't see the stratagem around publishing really changing this year. Like, I think, so far as I have heard, everyone's still being very, very taut with their purse strings. So... yeah. No, and Air Dragon, you're entirely correct. I mean, that's always kind of been the diddly-o, but in previous years, there's also been more what's called, like, speculative investment, right? You know, investing in a game or a technology that could be the next big thing, rather than is definitely, absolutely, positively going to be. Now, everybody at that space, to my understanding, is hurting. Like, between the... like, the crypto crash wasn't just a fucking dumb idea. It took a lot of money with it and made a lot of VCs kind of like hunker down. And we're already seeing potential legislation around the use of AI. I don't know if you all saw, but I believe it's was it the Washington Post? Was it the New York Times? There is a particular journalistic outlet that is taking OpenAI to court for plagiarism. And how this goes down would have another big old knock-on effect. You know, Steam are already anti-generated works because I have a feeling that they see the coming storm. So Chef says, what kind of game should I create to make bank? Okay. Okay. Assuming you can put something together in the next, 6 to 12 months. Yeah, sorry, it all comes flowing back. Okay, so Chef, you want to do small group co-op that does not require any kind of advanced server-side infrastructure. You want it to be weird and janky, with a familiarity and a through line. By which I mean that there is a very simple goal, there is a simple squad, and so you need a simple playstyle, and you need something that mechanically no one in the AAA or games as service area can do. All right, you need dumb, you need funny, you need scary, you need a squad of people going in. Right. It does not have to be paratropic. It does not have to be a Phasmophobia-inspired title. In fact, you could do something that only allows communication with, say, gestures and stuff like that. Jamami, I do think that, yes. Because, and this is the reason why I'm saying this, it's not just that, Lethal Company is the new hotness. It is because Lethal Company does something that cannot be done at a large scale. See, Vampire Survivors, fun, janky, weird, but it is emulatable now that it is out, right? You cannot do a Lethal Company with a big team, because the team would eat itself alive trying to make something, and eventually you'd get like the sanitized... Well, you'd get like a sanitized Ubisoft version of it that then ends up being a games of service game. But games of service game, you always have to be acquiring. You always have to be making the number go up. It can't be about like a pocket experience. So like, I mean, in an ideal world, 4-player janky Man of Medan horror. So maybe not quite PS1 graphics, but big, chunky, low poly, easy to read. Well, so Chef, it's more that a big team has to answer to people. The bigger the team, the bigger the risk. And janky, dumb, buggy, fun stuff does not gel well with a 100-person team. And any of the big existing players that have survived the cull of 2023 are going to be doing shit by the book. No one is going to be saying boo to a ghost and making weird, fucked up, creative shit. But you can. So yeah. Obviously, making anything online like that is a tricky prospect, but absolutely has the potential. Yeah, AAA Lethal Company would just be the Ubisoft towers to expand your staff. Exactly. Now, when it comes to like single player experiences, honestly, I don't think there is a golden bullet strategy currently available. The other thing, Chef, is I'm not the only person that has worked this out. There will be multiple people rushing towards this with varying levels of creativity. And like I said, this conversation is probably 8 months out of date, if you know what I'm saying. Like, if your goal was just to use the success of Lethal Company to move forward, like, we needed to start making this back in August. But, as I said, I think this is something that larger companies just can't stand to. You know? Sorry, Chef was saying, what AAA game came out the indie scene hype of a genre or title? Of course, now my brain is blank. Now you're asking me the fun questions. I'm trying to think of a good one that isn't too obvious. I mean, Minecraft's an easy one. Yeah, Chef, Outlast Trials is probably the largest budget that you can do for that kind of weird co-op nonsense. But they already have an IP that's based on body horror, so they could get away with a lot. Rocket League is a good example, but Rocket League's not emulatable. You know, if Rocket League was emulatable, then Video Ball would have been a massive success. Cold Ankles, Factorio did break a lot of ground. But you know as well as I do that Factorio is incredibly complicated to make, and you'd have to create something that stands out enough. Like, I've had some, I say pitched at me. I've seen a lot of things come across my feeds from like press and content creator emails about like, oh, we mixed Factorio with X to make this, and I never hear from them again. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, friends, I think that Golden Light was a great example of success in that space. It was just too weird. Like, Lethal Company's comedy element carries through a lot. Oh no. So Chef, having seen the behind the scenes on that one, like, Alien Isolation was a very competent team being given a license. It didn't come from Amnesia. There was a never announced prototype game that was made at CA that never saw the light of day, but did end up resulting in some big stuff. So yeah. Fearless, sadly, not at all. One thing you'll remember, friends, horror games don't sell. Like, they do alright at high levels, but even great horror games don't sell good. Because people don't want to be scared all the time. That's just been a constant factor. Alien Isolation did as well as it did because it was attached to a gigantic monolithic IP. If they had released that game without the IP, it would have done much worse. And let us remember, Alien Isolation did not sell well enough to get a sequel. Sorry, Chef, I'm not saying this to be mean. It's like, Chef, like, I really think that now that they're under new management, like, having a conversation with the DreadX lot is not a bad shout. Because hopefully they've got, you know, a smart pipeline in place, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, well, Fearless, if you look at the timeline, like, Amnesia was... I mean, what was it? That team's first title, the one before Amnesia, was a boxed PC game. Like, that team had been making games on the cheap for a long time. I'm not trying to check anybody at the door. I'm not trying to be gatekeeping, but when it comes to business, like, timelines matter. Amnesia was not a hit with streamers. In fact, it predates the YouTube success and saw an influx of secondary sales because the YouTube scene started to pick up. It was really, really hard for people in the AAA space to get publishers to pay attention to things like Amnesia. Like, honestly, if you want to talk about, like, paving the way for good horror, Dead Space. And Dead Space did not sell good. It sold alright, but it didn't sell what EA wanted it to. Yes, Cold Ankles. But the thing with Among Us is that it's not a repeatable success story. Like, we haven't seen another Betrayal game do the same levels, and I mean, fingers crossed, we're not going to see another Pandemic anytime soon, so there we go. Alright, but okay, let's not go too far into the past here, because, like, you know, EA with unrealistic expectations, we're talking about 2010s, like, and before. What is EA right now? That is, do not touch with barge pole. I think they killed at least one of their internal creative teams in the last year's cull. And All we know from Square Enix is they are unhappy with how Final Fantasy XVI sold on PS5. Like, their current sales expectations are wild. But it's, again, friends, it's important to think about the now. Well, so DX Man, Among Us wasn't the first or the only people in category that were doing that. They just got fucking lucky, you know? Like Town of... what's it called? Not Tower of Salem. Is it Town of Salem? Fucking hell. Yeah, Town of Salem, the OG one. Like, that came out back in 2014, and that's done really well. But that didn't see the same kind of hit that Among Us did. And, like, Town of Salem is Werewolf, the video game. Like, again, it's important that we acknowledge that it wasn't through anything other than lightning in a bottle. And so we can't replicate that. So if Chef says to us right now, what game should I make that will do a return on investment? If we say Among Us, well, no, because Among Us already exists. Like, the lightning in a bottle effect and the breadth and depth to which it has taken over is huge. We mentioned Vampire Survivors earlier. The wave of Vampire Survivor clones has come and gone. Now the quality to create something that could hit even a fraction of the success is beyond something that could be made with a small team. The next big Vampire Survivors-esque title that wins will be made by a medium to large team. It will have a ridiculous amount of quality. You know? The reason why I do think that Lethal Company's methodology is one that can be followed is that chaos isn't something that can be put together at a larger size. Yeah. Oh no, Head Librarian, you haven't missed Horror Games chat. This is actually BizDev chat. I mentioned earlier my intent to kind of make like a... Here's all the players going to GDC. Here's the publishers, and here's the indie publishers and stuff like that. Like, who survived, who's a worry, like... To basically give people the same level of knowledge that we have here in the Longship. I want to put that together as a video before GDC, and that just got us down this path. And yeah, BizDev is basically horror. Chef asked the blunt question... Sorry, I shouldn't say blunt like it's bad. It's a good question. Chef was saying, like, yo, what is the game I should make to make a success? And I do think that, like, chaotic cooperative multiplayer experience. Something that is not going to cost you a gajillion dollars in server hosting. Something that is just either a play and decide or a like small fee and play. You know, Lethal Company being a tenner was the fucking smart move. I love it, but Unfortunate Spacemen was $25 at launch. And that made it really hard to get up to speed. And Unfortunate Spacemen needs like 5 to 6 people to be fun, right? With Lethal Company, you need 2 for it to be funny, and you need 4 to succeed. So it gives you this lovely bell curve of users, and you're only asking people to spend $10. Now, another valid strategy would have been something like Lethal Company being free, and then having, you know, the old skins, hats, and boots being things that you can buy and customize your little person. And Dari, Watto, and welcome. Yeah, Chef, it's in San Francisco. Like, I mean, Chef, it depends on finances, but like, And Chef, you're thinking of Gamescom. Like Chef, if you were going to go to GDC and pitch, it's still viable. But you'd basically be spending the next 2 months in pitching crunch mode, which we can help with, but like just understand if you make that call, you're about to go on like a 2-month game jam crunch. Yeah, so Durry, GTFO is a very, very good example where the price point is one of its big limiters, but GTFO's experience and commitment has allowed it to stand out. GTFO is another great example of a game that you couldn't make with a AAA team because it's so impenetrable. Oh no, Fearless, absolutely. I go out of my fucking mind stuck in here and start thinking that I'm a fake and a fraud and a hack and I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know what I'm talking about. And then I go to GDC and I'm like, whoa, I obsess about this shit way too much. I know, I might be the person who knows. I might actually bust open the Crazy People whiteboard for GDC coming up. We'll start like mapping out all the publishers. Oh yeah, no, and to the head librarian, your first day playing GTFO, I had the same thing. I've never played anything like it. When I got onto the fucking computer and I was like busting out like DOS commands and shit to find out where stuff is, made me feel like the coolest fucking kid ever. It was like it was the most intense horror feeling, and also that same feeling I got as a kid playing Uplink, combined. Yeah, Damien, I love a good whiteboard. I mean, we can do it in MS Paint, but it's not the same. Dustin saying Conspiracy of Thieves. Yup. But yeah. So, Chef, if I had to make one advice for designing one of these experiences, is do think of it in terms of like board games and sessions, right? You want everybody on the same level when they start, and you want everybody to have a set group end, right? But now, Chef, I do think that working with your existing title might not be a bad shout. The thing you were talking about the other day about potentially putting in like ARG-like elements into an existing game. You have a horror game with a complex environment that people can explore. You could build a puzzle into that, you know? Air Dragon, I did see that. They have all the OG high-quality broadcast tapes for the TV show reboot. And as soon as they have a tape reader that will read it and they can digitize it, they're gonna. No, and Jamami, low barrier to entry is always good. You know, I love Barotrauma, but fucking barrier to entry to learn how to play that is something massive. Air Dragon, also same. As someone who has played the Pirates of Dark Water fucking game, which was also annoyingly half finished. You know, Chef, being a solo dev is incredibly, incredibly fucking hard. Every nugget of freedom you have comes with so much, like, fear. So... also, Chef, I don't know if you've spoken to Damien, who's also chilling in a link here. Like, there are other solo devs that you can chat to as like a support group. Sorry, saying, what is the most common or popular art program people use to make assets for games? Depends if it's a 3D or 2D. But yeah. Well, okay, so Fearless Kerbal Space Program is a very good example of something that has a solid niche that a big publisher would never touch. Which, if you can figure out one of those niches and aim for it, then you're onto a fucking winner. However, the problem with those is that if you end up competing with another indie in the same space, you may lose just due to virtue of competition, which sucks. Whereas with narrative-based experiences or experiential games or group experiential games, people will be hungry for more, you know? Aww. Well, Damien, I'm happy to hear that. The fact that I don't have money to pour on you and other solo dev friends is a fucking travesty, and I will be talking to the gods about this. But I never did hear back from that PC sponsorship thing. I thought I had fucking Shu in there, but... But yeah, like, honestly, I think the other thing, Chef, is, yeah, talk to DreadX, because you've already made a great horror game, so you've already got proven chops. You know, either see about if they're doing another collection, or if they're looking to publish more horror stuff. I know you probably wanted to move away from horror, but, you know, you did win some awards. You're not nobody in that space. This is also why certain devs do end up in little,
Reactor online.
Hey!
Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
What hope?
Navalis, what and welcome. Another full 63-month compliment. Thank you kindly, friend. Sorry, I apologize, friends. I went to space for a second there. But yeah, basically what I'm saying is, this is why certain devs get pigeonholed into certain genres, because they become known for that genre, and it's easier for them to find funding doing the thing they are known for doing, rather than being like, "Hi, yes, we're a team of experienced horror game creators, and we'd like you to give us money to make a dating game about plants. We're calling it Fucking the Ficus. It's great. It's gonna be massive." What's wrong with me? Why did I come up with that? Why did I will that into existence? God damn it. It's like the fucking sandwich game all over again. Fern fondling. Damn it! Fucking hell. Sorry, for those of you wondering what the hell I'm talking about, we were joking about shitey... we were joking about, like, meme games, I think with Susan Arndt, and we joked about, like, a sandwich dating game, but the more we talked about it, the more it became a real thing. We're like, how much are you willing to change of yourself to date certain people? So, like, this person's super hot, but they don't want, you know, a fucking BLT. They want, like, a whole wheat rye salmon sandwich. And, like, how much of your construction and your fillings as you as a sandwich dating people are you willing to change? And I was like, fuck, that's good. You know what? After some Final Fantasy VII, I'm gonna put on the Final Fantasy mix. Long ship after dark on a Wednesday. Well, it's Tuesday, but yeah. For me, it was a Tuesday. Oh, but I'm gonna say, Chef, thank you for the conversation start. I love talking about this. Damien says the more they talked about it, the more real it became. Which is why Damien's made 90% of their games. Yo. Condomates Sandwich Sweethearts. It just fucking names itself. If any of you want to make that game, please go ahead. You have my permission. If you end up making millions, please throw some this way. But you are under no legal obligation to do so. So yeah. Like... Oh, sorry, Oh, hello there. Is that garlic bread? I fucking love garlic bread. Wait. I got garlic bread. Don't like that though. Yeah, sick of speed eating the dick. Oh. Fuck yes. Thank you. I got soup. Oh. Well, sorry. Thank you kindly. Oh, it's Wales Interactive did a Welsh horror game. Oh, what was it called? Oh fuck! Now my brain's gone completely to jello. All I know now is soup. And the bread to dunk in the soup. Oh, is it made of... Was it made of Skya? Yeah. And, okay. Talking about BizDev decisions, so... Wales Interactive put out this game. A first-person horror game based on Welsh folklore. At some point, friends, we will stream this. It's a spoopy game, but it's really interesting. But in terms of like weird BizDev decisions, the direct sequel to this is a 4-person round-based zombie survival game in a steampunk world where you collect Celtic god powers and survive the onslaught of the Quiet Ones. And I'm just like, what? I mean, I appreciate what you are doing, but... Anyway, Wales Interactive has been mostly specializing in, like, interactive video nonsense. Which is fine. You know, they've got one FMV murder mystery game called Who Pressed Mute on Uncle Marcus, and I just fucking love that as a title. But I don't know. I find that while they're cheap to produce, FMV games can really struggle to find their audience. Dustin, I'm trying not to sing it. I'm trying so hard. But yeah, so, sorry, to answer your question, someone has done a horror game based on Welsh folklore, and yeah, for some inexplicable reason, their follow-up is a 4-person co-op shooting action game. And, well, okay, so this is why when we talk about these kind of like group experiences, the focus is on the experience, right? If you make something that is stepping into the same space as big established contenders, you've got to have something. Because here's the thing, users don't give a fuck. Users talk a big game. Users will post long comments about how they want fresh and different and what have you. But they do not care if you are a team of 2 or if you are a team of 200. If you are making a co-op shooter, they are going to compare it to other co-op shooters. Alright? So you've either got to stand out in that space so drastically from other people, or you've got to outclass them. You know? Now the plus side is that users are also vapid, fickle creatures, in that they'll take visuals over content a lot of the time. But in that regard, you've got to do battle in the marketing arena. And, like, no, I don't think any of us here are going to have a big marketing budget in 2024. Alright? If we are doing marketing and outreach and stuff like that, we've got to box clever, and boxing clever means time. Yeah, Chef, it's annoying, but like for standalone horror games, it's very true. You've either got to do something really drastic, or you've got to break out on your own. So like, Happy Humble's Burger Farm or what have you, that visual style, that what if Clerks 2 was a horror, great way to stand out. Great way. The Mortuary's Assistant, high quality, small, but with some really fresh boops. Oh yeah. So Chef, I don't know if you've seen the body cam game, and a lot of others that have been using like some very, very clever visual effects to make things look hyper realistic. There's a couple I've got on my list that I keep meaning to break down with you all at some point. And hey, there's some real strength in having a game that looks incredible in pre-release, and then when it comes out, it's not really there. Alright, so, sorry. The way art comes into budgeting is in two ways. So you have your concept art. That will set the tone for what everything looks like throughout the project. It may change, but the other thing is called an art pipeline. And that is how long it takes you to make something and put it into the game. Like, in theory, any dev team could make a hyper-realistic video game, but the amount of time and effort and resources it would take makes it unattainable, right? It's like, in theory, any one of us could build the pyramids, but the amount of time it would take is beyond that of a human life, right? It's the same kind of thing. So, a lot of... Sorry. So, a lot of titles end up going for a certain visual style with a certain kind of art pipeline that dictates what the game will look like and how it comes together. And that's before we get into kind of like the twisted magic that is shaders and whatnot. And Chef, you're all good. Like, horror is one of those fascinating genres that most people love talking about and just don't want to have to experience all the time. I mean, I fucking love horror video games. I mean, one of the reasons I don't play a lot of them is that it's been getting better, but for the longest time, most horror games were just fucking garbage. And the post-Slender, post-Five Nights at Freddy's world didn't really give us the breadth and depth I was hoping for, but... Oh, and to the head librarian, fucking same. I understand, like, I couldn't make a game from start to finish without some serious Googling. But I understand all the pieces and how they fit together, right? Shaders, have no fucking clue. Shaders and netcode. Well, actually, at least netcode I vaguely understand, right? But shaders, like, I have been told how the Spider-Man shit works. Does not make sense to me. Oh yeah, no, Head Librarian. Just add multiplayer. It's a drop-down in Unreal. It would be in Unity, but you have to pay them 25 cents. Forgive me for eating on stream, friends. Okay. Alright. Oh, and if you're wondering what I'm talking about, I think the Spider-Man game's the best shorthand for talking about it, but basically, none of the rooms inside the apartments in the Spider-Man games exist. They're just visual trickery. So, like, obviously nothing in a game exists per se, but it is based on the simple theory that you create a 3D space, you put stuff in, and inside that environment, it all kind of exists in its own rulings, you know? But, like, if you need to have a pool full of water, it varies from engine to engine. In the old ones, you'd basically just have a rule that says this space is water, and you put like a nice fancy effect over the top of it. But like the bottles inside Half-Life Alyx, there's no even fake water. It's just visual trickery in how the shaders... Ugh. That's the point where my brain just melts. So Lost Flowers, Unity have not walked back their runtime fee. They've changed the criteria, but yeah, Unity are still at a point where if you start developing with them now, there is a chance that you will have to pay Unity a per install fee at some point in the future. So yeah, unfortunately, Unity is a big no-go. At least for peeps like us, right? And, you know, it's insane for indies. You know, Stabby Dave is still in play. And here's the thing. I don't think they're going to walk it back. I think a lot of people are going to be moving away from it. And the only way they'll be able to, like... unless they have a drastic turn, is they'll probably come up with more ways that you can pay them so you don't have to deal with Stabby Dave. Which is fucking wild. But he's still there. I mean, Chef, you're not wrong. It would be nice if Steam devs got a better cut. But, you know, here's the thing. Like every storefront, Steam are mercenaries and they know their place. Right? They know they can just say, no, 30 please. Because, like, no one else has been able to step to them. And they make their choices based on money. Like, they're not banning NFT games and, like, unprovable AI art because they are trying to make a stand and a difference and make things good in the world. It's because it was very clear that NFTs and crypto was going for a big old crash. And it was already a legal mess. And the same thing with AI art. Like, I would not be surprised if this year we do see there being a huge turnaround on the use of, like, you know, Mind Journey and ChatGTP and stuff like that, and how they can be implemented. But yeah, so jumping back. So, Chef, the things that I would consider is 1, can you do DLC for your existing game? 2, can you take your existing game and can you make a sequel or a continuation from it? That way it allows you to reuse all the assets you've got and what you have so far. 3, can you retool those... Hey, Eagle lives. Can you retool what you have and start building a group experience in it? And Tibius Clock, Watto and welcome. Hello, hello. Lovely to see you too. Grand Take, Steam don't give a heck. Steam have already proven that, like, opening the floodgates is only good for them because it increases the number of titles sold. Every title sold is money for Valve. It increases the chances of big sellers, which they benefit from. Like, when you get something like a Lethal Company coming out of nowhere, you get a Vampire Survivors, people flock to Steam to get it. Steam's getting 30% of a lightning in a bottle success. So, like, Steam don't give a heck. They get their $100 for every release. Like, their overall goal is this democratization of Steam. You know, put it in the hands of the users. It's not on us. Because that also saves them money. As we've said before, the most expensive thing in anything around video games is people. Like, that's the real cost. Moderation is people. So the less moderation you have on a platform, the less it costs you to run it. Yeah, and again, I'm not... So, like, Grand Take and Peeps, I'm not saying this to be all like, I know what's right and you don't. It's more like, this is my sphere. Like, if people are being shitey, I want us calling them out for the shitey reasons. Triviest, we were just talking about releasing games on Steam and stuff. TLDR, I want to try and put together a list of the major players for 2024. The publishers, the indie publishers, the people that... the entities that people like us would interact with, and then have context on details and deals and what have you. What I know. Like... Because I am very lucky. I'm working with a team that currently does not need funding. And I have you lot, right? If the ID at Xbox team don't like me in 2024, then so be it. Actually, I still think ID at Xbox is awesome, and I've always liked what they do. So they were a bad example, but like what's his face over at Tiny Build? I've met him a bunch of times, chatted with him. Like, he's not a bad guy. But I would not recommend you take a deal with Tiny Build right now. Because I don't think they're done hurting. And I think that... I mean, the basic bitch thing is... I think they were under the impression that Hello Neighbor was going to be the IP that launched 1,000 ships. And it hasn't. Yep. It's my special BizDev tinfoil hat, no less. Which is the same as a tinfoil hat, but it's got a bunch of those like little GDC ribbons that says indie as fuck around the brim. Maybe I'll like one that's like party AF. Well, and Chef, here's the thing. I hope that one, you and all of you that are also industry people can feel a little bit of sanity from talking it through with somebody, especially if you've been stuck indoors a lot. And two, I fucking love talking about this. This is my fantasy football. I still love the fact that you lot will put up with me talking about this. Well, and also, I wanted to work out what we're playing this week, so there we go. And sorry, thank you for the teeny tiny bits. So, Numbers was asking about Final Fantasy VII, the remake and the remaster. It seemed like you all enjoyed like watching that and having it as a vehicle to talk about remakes. I would really like to continue that conversation. Because while we did have a good chat, there's so much we didn't get to. And yo, the... Grand Take, I don't know if it would match, but I would say that anytime I see that t-shirt at GDC, I'm like, ah, I see you're a person of culture. If you haven't seen it, from a previous Polygon video, BDG got a t-shirt that said, like, I love all video games, or something along those lines. That when you put a blazer over it, it cuts it down to I ass. Inspired. Inspired. That shirt now outlives E3. Okay, so we can continue with some more Final Fantasy VII, the remastered. Does anyone have a preference on day? I thought Saturday was pretty good. But we could do it earlier in the week if you all want to get more into like the weeds about remakes and funding and stuff like that. And Chef, like, it is a wild feeling that no one prepares you for, is seeing someone playing through what you worked on and kind of either being affected by it or gushing about it. Sorry, my hand's been giving me a lot of trouble today. It's also one of the reasons why we're chatting and not playing stuff. Hopefully it'll be fine for tomorrow. Alright, so unless anybody has any preferences, we'll give Final Fantasy VII another Saturday run. I can't promise it's going to be on it's going to be repeatable on Saturdays, but it does work. We've got Sea of Thieves on Friday. Yeah, and Damien, like, as Damien is saying, like, the fact that people are spending parts of their lives to play something you worked on and enjoying it it's still so wild. Like, from all the drama that came out of CA, the amount of people that were like, Shogun 2's my favorite! And like, I feel like I worked directly on Shogun 2 and Fall of Samurai more than the others. Like, I was on Rome 2, but I was doing a lot of, you know, community work and outreach and stuff like that. You know, I wasn't in the guts of it. I feel like I can take the least amount of credit. Like, anytime someone's like, you know what, I really love Rome 2, it's one of my favourites, I always want to be like, what's wrong with you? But when I found out Fall of Samurai had been rebranded since I left, I was so grumpy. But that's the one I care about. Actually, Eagle Lives, most of them didn't, and they played it after all the additions. Okay. So today, or this evening, is us just chatting and hanging out. I had wanted to finish up the Half-Life Alyx sans the VR run, and I reserved the right to do that for another, like, Long Ship After Dark. But I really shouldn't play it tonight. Like, as I said, my hand's giving me a lot of trouble, and nursing through a migraine yesterday took a lot of painkillers, so I don't want to just, like, hoof a bunch of ibuprofen and just tank through it. I actually gotta let my hand rest. Like a nerd. Like, Jamami, call me a heretic for this one. I still think that Shogun 2's co-op campaign's the most fun. Because it's condensed, you can actually feel like you're near each other. And then good old realm divides, you versus the world towards the end. That feels good. Oh, and Chef, sorry. These Final Fantasy mixes are lovely. This is, again, Game Shops doing their goodness. They know what they're about. Okay, so that leaves Wednesday and Thursday. So... Oh yeah, Dustin, I'm touch wood. I am very lucky in that I get migraines very rarely. But this was one of those ones where, like, my vision was going screwy. Like, I couldn't read subtitles on the TV. So Chonorus, I am trying to decide if we want to do this week or next week to start the week in review. But mainly because I want to get guests on for week in review where I can, but I have not been having much success with my personal life, which is where everything's been kind of falling down, and you can't really have guests, you can't invite guests onto your show and then be 4 hours late. That's a big part of where I've been struggling. Alright, you know what? Tomorrow, we're going to start off with a game that no one else has played. Tomorrow, we'll be playing On Your Hands. Like, I wanted to show you all this for ages, and this was one of the games we chose for our little, like, late night stream up. Check this nonsense. Yes, that is a handgun. Well, so Damien, like, there's so many people, including yourself, I'd love to have on for the week in review, just as like more rapid fire guests. Like, don't get me wrong, I love doing the Friday of Thieves. I love the fact that we have so many excellent and knowledgeable, that we get to play pirates with industry legends. And should you ever get the equipment to be able to join us, you're absolutely sailing with us. But, you know, like, Sea of Thieves sessions can often be like 8 hours, and sometimes everything happens so much in-game that we don't get a chance to talk about the good shit. So that's why I wanted to do the week in review. But also, I don't want to invite you on the show and then be like, real sorry, I was 4 hours late. Sorry, bye. You know, I want a format where people can kind of hop in, hop out. So that only really leaves Thursday. Thursday is usually our quietest day, which is also why I think it's a good day for a chat show. I'm going to tell you, the amount of titles, both having been gifted and otherwise... Well, you know what I mean, numbers. You know what I mean. There's also wanting to start Lunacid. Like, I know some of you have seen some playthroughs of that already, but, like... It's a FromSoft-inspired game by Kira, the person behind a ton of great horror stuff, most notably Lost in Vivo, one of my fucking favorites. Right, well, sorry, go get some sleep, have yourself a lovely rest of your evening. Get the snooze that I cannot. Yeah, I remember sleep. I remember being able to get that on command. Those were some good days. Okay. So I tell you what, we're going to schedule the first week in review for the 11th. So, yeah, I mean, Eagle lives. I wholeheartedly agree. I think the least realistic thing I've seen in a video game is the ability to go to sleep on command for a set amount of time. Right, that just seems impossible to me. No, Dustin was saying, good topic for the week in review to consider is the 2024 public domain updates. I mean, we could. it always descends into having to define and redefine what it means for something to be in the public domain, and the intersection between trademark, copyright, and all of that nonsense. Like, I don't know if you all saw the drama around the not Steamboat Willie game, which may in itself be susceptible to strikes because it doesn't actually use Steamboat Willie. It uses the Mickey Mouse as Steamboat Willie character from later on in Disney's setup. Also, they accidentally put a fucking fascist dog whistle in their title, which everyone was all like, whoa, I can't believe we're giving these people platform. Now, whether you believe them or not is up to you, but they put out a statement today being like, oh fuck, we are so sorry, we did not know. Like, we just wanted it to have a cool sounding name. Some friends have been calling it the first reverse milkshake duck of the year. Oh, and sorry, Dustin, I didn't mean that as like a, you're stupid and bad and dumb. I meant it more like, discussions about public domain and copyright and stuff always seem to come down to restating like the same like 3 or 4 points, and it doesn't really go anywhere. So, I don't know. Like, we could talk to see if there's anything interesting in that space to work with, but like, for people like us, is it worth the risk it for a biscuit? You know, if you ended up succeeding, you may draw enough attention for the mouse to just turn around and go, yeah, we can't let this slide. You know, the Winnie the Pooh horror film and the Winnie the Pooh game, they didn't get hit. What was it? The movie that got stealth filmed at Disneyland, that one got fucking nuked into oblivion. Like, sorry, that's mildly unrelated, but the point is, had the Winnie the Pooh horror game done well enough and had bared enough of a, like, as I said, this is why I hate talking about it, because it's like, it's not about what isn't right, it's, you know, how low can you go under the radar and still succeed? And if you end up being too successful, how hard will the mouse destroy you? And that is very... Don't fuck with the mouse. Like, I don't like the mouse. You don't fuck with the mouse. Yes, Escape from Tomorrow, thank you. And Verdant Flow, Watto and welcome. Actually, so Jamami, I was thinking for that for next week so I could start recruiting again, but yeah, I'd like to do another fantasy league. I don't know if you all saw in Discord, I put the final results. But suffice to say, our good friend Ryan Tatum came in first by a solid margin. And then Lustrum, Alice was in third, Wolfcrad in fourth, Moose middle of the pack in fifth, then Sadlin, then Park Programs, and then me and Quasi fighting for last place. So yeah, I'd love to do another Fantasy Critic League, but I guess I want to talk about that when like Sadlin and Peeps are in. There's a few changes I want to make, so like I want to remove the DLC and expansions. I want to have it be a mix of like new and old titles. Also, I'm in two minds about the counter pick, but Yeah, Fantasy E3 Ball 2, Electric Boogaloo. God. The Longship. Outlasting E3. Now we just have to outlast Keeley as well, and jobs are getting. Sorry, that sounded really fucking bleak there. I didn't mean that quite as it came out. Well, so Chef, that's the thing. The Game Awards is very successful at doing exactly what it sets out to do. And I hate that. Like, is it a... Yeah. As an award show, it's trash. As an advertising platform, it's a wild success. But that's another story. We don't need to talk about award shows again. Okay. Whew. So yeah, I haven't decided when we should start doing the next E3 per league, but I'll tell you what, friends, what if we leave just Thursday to the gods? See what comes our way. Yeah, and Damien, you're entirely right. There's so many Game Award soaps that start. I am involved with a few different judging panels and stuff like that, and it's so hard. Like, it's character classes. There's no right way to do an award ceremony. Like, from previous years where I've been involved in the BAFTAs, because I can't comment about, whether I am or am not involved in the current process, but like, that one, the BAFTAs is a well-discussed, well-argued, well-thought-out space. And, like, even that has massive downsides, I got very drunk with somebody at GDC last year who was trying to create, like, the right award show, and it's not that they can't do it, it's just, like, the amount that it might take. Sorry, you know what? This isn't a conversation topic that's really worth our time, Like I said, most award shows exist for either legitimization of the show it's attached to, or as a way to bring people in. The ones that are trying to do, like, actual justified artistic achievements are far and few between, and it's a fucking mess. Okay, Chef, a Eurovision indie game contest would be funny as fuck. God. Maybe we go full Eurovision on it, like, judging is based on a live gameplay performance, but it has to be played live, and it has to be from a retail build. So no, like, Eurovision show-off mode. Like, no Eurovision show-off build. Because if you don't know, the rules around Eurovision and what you can and can't do for a performance are so fascinating. What if we spend a day with Lunacid on Thursday? Because that's something that we could play after Week in Review moving forward. Because basically I'm going to be asking Scotty to do like a standalone cut of the Week in Review so that on Friday mornings, people who haven't seen can have like a little clip together. Well, see, Chef, this is one of those things where, like, I love the idea of it, but the actual logistics... Like, maybe the Indie Cup, if it started doing it on a country-by-country basis, but the Indie Cup's also a bit of a mess in that their submission guidelines is a little all over the place. Like, while there are certain groups that do reflect certain countries' industries, like Yuki and Wales Interactive and stuff like that, like, there's no standardization. You know, Azerbaijan does not have an indie games operation out there. It should. There should be one everywhere, but, you know... Dustin, you really want a game jam. And I will say, friends, whilst we have talked about this a few times, we've never had enough people able or interested in doing a game jam to do one, but I'm not against one, right? More often than not, what we've done is we've put together a Longship team for other game jams.
Eurovision the Vidjar game? That one with the Ding Dong hour-long mini-game, the sequel Brosnan's Yaya drinking game, and who can forget Yaya, Revenge of the Ding Dong.
Play Yaya Ding Dong! The Longship already has its own battle of fortitude. Though the Yaya Ding Dong was... Ultimately, it was sleep, not madness, that claimed our contestants. God, I had that stuck in my head for weeks afterwards. Just watching Pierce Brosnan sipping on a shot of aquavit while Yaya Ding Dong just played on loop. Sorry, I didn't mean to get a 1,000-yard stare there. Bacon, thank you for the 200, friend. We're just kind of planning out next week's streams and talking about stuff. What's a jam? Like, I'm trying to think, what's the next big, like, weekend game jam? It's like, what? Is that global? Is that coming up, or is that just gone? God. I used to know all the big game jams. But, like, Jam, if you are interested in, like, game jamming as the coder, you can do that. Like, we'll get your team together. Lost Bowers, I am a disaster, and I am an affront to several gods. I assume that the rest leave me on this mortal coil either for amusement or as a cautionary tale to others. Okay, but PVS, you must have thought that was a bit, right? Because I fucking did. And this is not a dog pile. This is not an insult to anyone. But when was it? New Year's Day? No, New Year's Eve. Someone who has frequented the Longship for quite some time came in and asked, "Hey, I'm thinking about buying this game called Rainworld. Does anyone know anything about it?" And we were all just kind of like, "What is?" It felt like a bit. It felt like a bit. And then it just led to this long-winded...
Well, what's Rainworld? That sounds super interesting.
It does!
Has anyone played it?
I don't think anyone here has played Rainworld. I can't imagine anyone has. Feckin' hell. It's just, it was so funny. I'm just glad I didn't get like fighty about it. Yeah, Chef, the one with the water, right? It's like the world, but with the rain on top. I think. Jobs are good. Don't worry about it. Oh. No, it absolutely cracked me up. And I just kept being like, somebody say psych. Please say psych. Oh, Chef, that sounds so weird. What is this Minecraft you speak of? And hey, Lizzie Watto. Hello, welcome. We're just planning streams for the week. Well, actually, we've been talking about biz dev stuff, and we've been nattering about a whole bunch of different topics, like mostly like, I guess, industry predictions going into the new year. We're just talking about the. Has anyone heard of Rain World? I saw it on Steam. It looks really good. BioShock? Doesn't ring any bells, PVS. Doesn't ring any bells. It is, you know what, in fairness, in the Great Hall, it is the second title, not the first. So I can't be mad. God, I've been trying to think of an excuse to play through Elle's Heartbreak again. But we have so many games to get through before we start thinking about doing replays. Oh, a lot of terrors. No, Bacon, it's fucking wild. It's fucking wild. Okay. Alright, so friends, bear with me just a second. I just need to nip the loo. And then let us, I don't know, let's settle on a Thursday something. Because we've got Final Fantasy VII on Saturday, which is like smooth as butter, high quality, great banter, we know what we're about. Friday, Sea of Thieves, Chaos and Carnage, and tomorrow is On Your Hands, which is going to be so indie. Like, so indie. So, for Thursday, I'm trying to think, like, what to go for. So, have a ponder, I'll be back in just a second, and to be continued. Hello, hello. Thank you for waiting. Oh. But yeah, numbers, yeah. It was Rain World was 20% of my playtime last year. Also, actually, that is a good point. I need to reach out to the dev team and see if they want to come hang out and chat with us. Because I've been wanting to talk about Downpour. But I wanted to make sure we'd finished it all. Because the core team's working on some new wild stuff, which I'm really looking forward to. It's very different. And I'm not sure if they're going to keep kind of like adding to it. Because obviously there's markets there. Yeah. Oh, so Lizzie, like, Hollow Knight was the thing that led to us carrying over, right? So, I don't know. I don't know how we became, like, a part of the Rain World ecosystem, but we did. And I haven't quite got 300 hours on it, but I'm not far off. Actually, what is my top played? I do love Wasted on Steam. Ooh. Okay. Blackout Club is still my most played, like, since getting a Steam account. With 100 hours more than even my Counter-Strike 2 or PlanetSide 2 addictions, which have... The Counter-Strike I played intensely for several years, and PlanetSide 2 was my lunchtime game and my have a glass of wine and not be frustrated game for a long time. Oh, if any of you ever want to know, steamdb.info/calculator. You put your Steam app, your Steam profile ID in there, and it gives you your numbers. Like, in total, I spent 130 hours on Sniper 3, but ever so slightly more on Vampire Survivors. It's weird that Cyberpunk has ended up creeping up there. Hookshot, it won't tell you how rich you'll be when your game releases, but it will tell you how much you'll need to recoup. How much you'd need to recoup for how many games you have on your account. Oh, okay. So numbers, is that your Steam account on lowest, or is that your Steam account on average? Because the value is done on, I think it's like lowest prices off Steam. And Rilu, what and welcome. Rilu, are you up exceedingly late or extremely early? Alright. I shall ask no more questions. You know what, Jab? No, it's fair. It's fair. Chef has almost got 3,000 hours in Dota 2. I mean, there are worse things to be doing, I suppose. I mean, Rilu, absolutely, but I don't remember a time where the stress has left me, so I wholeheartedly understand where you're coming from. For me, aside from a really good hangover, there aren't too many times where I feel totally without stress. Hookshot just hit 1k on Eco. Yeah, that game does slap. Hookshot, have you managed to clear it? Like, laser out the meteor clear. Okay, really. Then I completely understand. All 3 lasers now. Got the hat trick. The old Don Matrix special. Okay. No, I mean, Hookshot, that sounds heckin' cool. For those who don't know, Ket actually worked on Eco for a short time, and so I got to have a peek into some of the most active servers, the ones that have economies and voting and stable industry and infrastructure. It's fascinating. Jesus, Jam's managed to rack out 500 hours in Factorio. Go you. I haven't played as much Factorio as I always think I have. I fucking lived that game. But as I said, it's definitely one of those games where I don't want you to see me play it because it's going to give you some kind of condition. And I've dusted Eco, not Ico. For those of you who haven't heard of it, so Eco is a voxel craft and survive type game, but with one very, very important hook, and that is that it has a living ecology, right? If you farm all the deer, there are no more deer. If you chop down the trees, there are no more trees. And your ultimate goal is to get technology moving far enough that you can make a gigantic laser to shoot an asteroid out of space. I'm sorry I inflicted on this. I inflicted all of this on you lot. If you hadn't encountered Wasted on Steam before, it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. And yeah, sorry. People were talking about this today about how Monster Hunter World has had to do very little to have a massive influx of players again. Technically, my Monster Hunter World is only 160 hours, but I played through pretty far on PS4 originally, and during my the start of the Longship / Bad Will finds out having fucked around time. Sadly, my PS4 didn't make it with me. Really says we don't talk about my 2k plus hours in Dead by Daylight. Unless you want to talk about how that's fucking awesome, Rilu. Hey, Cold Ankles, with some focus and dedication, we can get that number way up. And maybe a little bit of time traveling. Realism says they're prouder of their 250 hours in golf with your friends than the 2K on Dead by Daylight. I mean, I can appreciate it. No, Chef, 1K... Again, friends. Never apologise for your hours spent in games, and fuck you to anybody that makes you feel bad about them, alright? But maybe you were going through a shitty time, and you needed something as a form of escapism, as a form of comfort. Let me tell you, there are so many worse things you could be doing than playing video games to escape the fucking crushing hellscape that we live in. Others, like, mastery is something that we're so rarely given the ability to do in a safe environment, right? You know, mastery of games is something that you can strive to without destroying yourself. And mastery doesn't mean, like, you know, diamond rank in multiplayer. It means really live in that game, alright? Only you can decide when you are done with a game. And for the people that have, I think, was it Puns just finished 100% achievements for Baldur's Gate, for example. Like, fuck yeah! That's awesome! So yeah, never feel bad about your hours put into a game. Never let people make you feel bad about that. Because if they do, fuck them. They own no shit. Like, but also, here's the thing. Very few people that make video games have time for the mastery. Like, you would be amazed that by truly fully experiencing some of these titles gives you so much knowledge. You know? For a larger portion of my career, before I really understood the ins and outs of game development, I knew games. And I don't mean that I just had random factoids. I mean, I had really dived into the guts of them. And a lot of people that are at decision-making level, in the video games industry don't do that. Like, and like, that's a knowledge and an experience. That's knowledge and experience that most people won't get. Like, sorry, I'm just kind of tuttering. So, like, Legends, during the whole Halo Reach heyday, I played an inordinate amount. Like, I was on the Laszlo Run challenge once a week levels. Sadly, that doesn't carry across, and maybe I'm happier not knowing. But I will say that the knowledge it gave me was kind of fascinating. And it's genuinely helped me professionally, you know? My friend used to say, everything is relevant, relevance is everything. And I try and use that to be... I try and see that in the way of, like, if I am the only person that has spent, you know, a gajillion hours in a game and experienced it in its entirety, from its base moments through to its top tier, like, how can I convey that? How can I use that to help me? How can I make that knowledge relevant? And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. Sorry, I feel very passionately about this. And again, if you are using video games for escapism, congratulations, you picked one of the healthier ways to deal with your shit. Because believe me, there is much worse. But that's another story. Okay, sorry, I think I'm taking it onto darker and darker territories. Fuck it, what if we did indie robots on Thursday? To the tippiest clock, I'd love to be a space dwarf. I'm working on getting that stocky dwarf physique, but a person can only eat so much. Well, so Dustin, we've got both Battle Metal and we've got Gear Bits. Whereas I feel like with Battle Metal, maybe we should do a multiplayer day of that. Because we were playing Armored Core on Thursdays, so it would be kind of funny to be like super indie Virtua On style nonsense. Yeah, you know what? Let's fucking do it. Alright, so we'll do Gear Bits on Thursday. I don't think we'll do Battle Metal as well. But we'll see how it goes. Because if we're going to do anything as like a double feature, we'll be finishing off Half-Life Alyx. Because I want to do the ending Sans VR, so I want to see how it lands. But, you know, we've got these games literally for stream. Alright. Boosh. And with that, the schedule is done. Verdant Flow says, on Thursdays I should play other games with the AC as acronyms. I should. I'd never run out of fucking games to play. Oh. Yeah, friends, you know what? I think, yeah. So, aside from today, where I don't think we'll have an after stream because I'm still feeling a bit ropey, but we did get to hang out here, so it's not a complete loss. So tomorrow we're going to be doing On Your Hands, the finger guns first-person puzzly game. Thursday we'll be doing Gear Bits, which is Virtua On, like AC Virtua On indie goodness. It looks fast, it looks frantic, it looks chunky, and it looks fun. Then for Friday, we have the Sea of Thieves, where I have been told Night Shift with Nessa will return. So, I don't know if you'll want to try and watch every Saw movie between now and then. And then on Saturday, we'll have another day of the Final Fantasy remake. I don't know if I'll be able to keep that one at Saturdays, but I definitely want an excuse to keep going with it. Mainly because I want to get us onto the next chapter and start exploring more of Midgar, you know what I mean? Because, like, if you weren't there for Saturday, we probably spent as much time talking about the architecture of Midgar as we did, like, you know, talking about reboots. Because, God, it's so fascinating. Chef saying, will the Final Fantasy remake have the open world? I have been told that it opens up proper much later on, but, like, ultimately they're doing them all in segments. So you've got, like, the first part is centered around Midgar, then the second one is like Cosmo Canyon and beyond. And I don't know how they're going to split up, so maybe in the third one you'll have everything available, like the full world to fly around. Who knows? All I know is that fucking, what is it, the Ruby Weapon is a thing that will come back, because fuck us, I guess. And then we start Week in Review next week. No, not weekend reviews. Week in review. Week in review. God. One of the Newgrounds peeps made a great animation about what it was like to find the ruby weapon by mistake when you were a kid just flying around. And no, not the Whedon review. My tolerance is too baby for that. All you'd be doing is watching me have a little snooze in my chair. Okay, alright. As I am very clearly fading now, I just want to say, friends, thank you for helping me plan out the week. Thank you for the company and the conversation. We've talked about how to make an indie hit. We've talked about publishers a little bit. We'll probably be talking about that more in the coming days. And a little on horror video games and the ilk. Again, friends, this is what I enjoy and this is what I'm good at. So if you've ever got any questions about this, or if there's stuff you want to natter about, then let's go, baby. That's why I'm here. You know? As I've said, I can't make your streaming career take off. I can't help your YouTube channel be a success, but by the old gods and the new, I can fucking help you with your Vigi game. Chef, you are entirely welcome. And as I said, I genuinely enjoy talking about this stuff, so fuck yeah. But yeah, I have absolutely hit the wall, friends. So let's see if there's any friendos kicking around this evening. You know what? A good friend of ours, Stuff Creates, is just starting Hollow Knight. And I do believe they might be playing it for the first time. So, get to have that well, Dustin, that's the hope. Because I did not get fucking sleep last night. That's why I'm fading now. Alright, so I'm going to pass you over to Stuff. But friends, thank you for lovely conversation and company. I am, as always, just really fucking grateful for you lot, alright? I still can't believe you all want to talk about the same things that I do. That's it. That's the long and short of it. Right. Let's go be terror. We'll go be terrors over on Stoffs. Oh. Yeah, it's nap time for me. Nap time for me. Actually, no, what I'm going to try and do is stay awake for a few hours and then get my sleep into a good way. But anyway, so friends, whatever you do, have a lovely rest of your evening. I'll see you tomorrow for gloriously weird indie games. And yeah. To be continued. Let's say that. To be continued. Whew. Just can't fall asleep at least until 10, 11. Which may be a challenge. Fucking hell. Alright. Love to you all. To be continued. Onward!